Most of the time he gets it right. Every now and then he gets it wrong as we get underway at Watford. And a flat kick to start us off as the Kiwis take it in through Richie Barnett. And what a great series he's had. And I know that all Kiwis will be hoping that he's able to bring the ball back just like he did in the second test. A settling down period. Some big solid defence too as the Great Britain team come bowling across the top and taking on Big Joe. About 18 out from their own line now. This looks to be McCracken. McCracken with his new hairstyle. A few of the boys have been out in the hair dye department. Nothing to do, no midweek games, must be spending at the hairdressers.
Well, let's hope the peroxide and the bleach doesn't go too deep into the skull, mate. And, you know, obviously Great Britain have said earlier on this week that they want to come up and play this confrontation style, try and outmuscle these Kiwi forwards. They really have been showed up. And, you know, early on we've seen that 3 or 4 of them piling in. And Bull Harrigan, he'll pick them every day if they're going to lay on. Watch it now, and it's of course the new hooker come in, Terry Newton. He's come up playing second division with Bramley. And, you know, obviously a big call for the coach, good way to bring him up in place of Cunningham, who's been pretty good. He's been playing with a groin injury. Cunningham has battled on, and in the second test was impressive.
Yeah, they've lost some good talent through injury, the Great Britain team. Most notably Easton Harris, who's had a great season, the man of steel for 1998. He's not there through a groin injury as they go the short side now, the Kiwis. Just working it through Bangala, bounces off the back of Wiki, eventually claimed there by Keith Senior. He gets up now, Sean Hoppy helps him out. Edu now, the dummy half, flicks it across flat, onto now Logan Swan. He's muscled and put to ground by Dale Lawton. Slow to get to his feet now, 22 out from the line. They work the short side. A charging McCracken is hitting a big tackle, gets the ball spilt. And Stacey Jones looked a bit high too, Dwayne.
Oh, not much in that. Tony Smith, his frontal defence has been very good. You know, I think of the 5'8" and a half for Great Britain, they've been good on their own, but as a combination they really have struggled. But we'll see how Smith goes in. Terry Smith playing in the 5'8" role, he'll have to fill in, and you know, big boots to fill, as you said, with Easton Harris. But you know, we'll have to see if they can cause more line breaks. I think with the Great Britain squad having used all 23 members over the last 3 tests, you know, that's going to be the telling factor.
Sculthorpe with a big run, wrapped up by Vanganara and McCracken. Got through 27 tackles, did McCracken in the second test. As it comes to Farrelly now, he puts the bullet kick through. It won't find touch. Taken by DJ Halligan, and he's tackled about 18 out from his own line. Over the top is Sean Long, the St Helens standoff, getting his opportunity. So just 5 out from their own line now as they shape a crossfield. Ruben Wiki going sideways. He's wrapped up in a good tackle from Tony Smith, the Wigan halfback. Assistance by Senior. Back on the inside now, just a settler for Swan. Taken out by O'Connor. With assistance there by Newton once again from Bramley. Now it's Sid Edu. Little dummy to the left. Turns it on the right to Robbie Paul. Gets it on once again to McCracken. To his feet now. Out of dummy half, grabbing some easy meterage, claims 7 for his team to Sideru. Quick play the ball, the Kiwi spread deep and wide. The cutout ball will go across to Stacey Jones, holds up the pass momentarily and decides to keep it himself. Squeezed from behind. He's done really well over the last couple of matches, has Stacey Jones. 5th and final tackle, well, they can ill afford to give away penalties at that stage of a set of 6. And Harrigan, no hesitation to award the penalty to the Kiwis, failing to allow Stacey Jones to get up. But on the 5th tackle, suicidal.
Yeah, I think what the Kiwis have been doing well is spreading the ball, and this Great Britain team, they show at least 20 metres of the sideline, play a very condensed line through the back line, and a good way, of course, he's been pretty much pensive all the way through as we've seen him, and hasn't really panicked, but Paul Sculthorpe giving away the penalty. But the Great Britain side, you know, they show a bit of the sideline and like to slide out, and of course the Kiwis have given them some concern with these good wide passes from Jones out to Paul.
Well, Halligan, what an addition he has been to the team. And certainly his consistency with the boot has been matched by his resolute defence. He's not a flashy player, but he certainly doesn't let the Kiwis down when he gets in the black and white jersey. This one from 45 metres out, pretty much in centre field at the home of the Watford Soccer Club. Of course, many familiar with the fact that Elton John once owned it. I'm not sure that he still does. Here we go with Halligan to open up the scoring for the Kiwis. And for once, he is wide. Well, I think nowadays most people would virtually bet their house on a kick of that nature from Halligan. Not to worry though, I'm sure he'll get many more opportunities before the end of the game. So still no score after 5 minutes as it comes off the left boot of Farrelly. Deep, taken in by Sean Hoppy. Up he runs, is taken by his opposite number, and that's Francis Cummins, the Leeds flyer, 2-0, the penalty count at the moment. And there's another penalty, so we go 3. And Cummins penalised by referee Harrigan, just trying to stamp his authority on the game early on, let them know what he expects from them.
Well, yeah, again, perhaps it's a talk in the media this week about wanting to get this, this style, and obviously it looks like he wants to keep both sides apart. Perhaps what we'd see here is the Kiwis quickly return the ball, take one in, maybe shoot back the blind. They've been setting up for this numerous times and have caught Great Britain asleep on the blind side.
Captain Courageous Quentin Ponga continues to do his work, as does Joe Vangana. Takes 3 to put him down, gets some assistance from Edu, and looking like him to help with Swan. But he'll play the ball 22 metres out from the line now, the Kiwis, and a good attacking opportunity here as it shapes up for Jones. Jones gets the wheels on the Barnett. Barnett's wrapped up by Robinson close to the line. They hold him out. Downstairs making the tackle, Sean Long. Kiwis now on play number 3 as it comes across for Jones. The run comes from Kearney, can't offload. 12 out from his own line, from the opposition line, as he spins around Edu. A rather rough ball, but it bounces kindly for young Paul. Robbie Paul this time around as Wiki is tackled now, about 15 out from the line. Dummy half, Edu. Flat, goes off to Jones. Back on the inside, decides for the cross field. He's done this successfully once. The bounce will be important. Tapped back now in no man's land. Pressure on as Great Britain come through. They tow it forward. Will the Kiwis be able to get onto the ball? That's the question. Look to be held back there. Referee must make a decision. Touch judge's flag is up anyway. But which way is the call going, Dwar?
Well, just have a look at this, and the ball, Darragh Halligan, he's kind of shepherding, trying to get Connolly, you know, really is a scrap fight. You know, I think Great Britain pretty unlucky there. It looked like as if Halligan was shielding Connolly, if anything.
Well, it opts, referee Halligan decides to go the way of Great Britain on a good attacking spot for them now. The charge from O'Connor is met with a tackle by Kevin Babista Idor, who they're writing plenty about just prior to his return to the English scene. Now head up is taken by Chris Joint, the St Helens second rower. He's about 15 out from the line as it's worked by Newton. Newton turns it, showing some skill up the inside there as the captain. That's Farrell. And Farrell's wrapped up about 7 metres out from the line. Back on the inside now comes to Dale Lawton. And the big man's pulled down just a couple of metres out from the line. Short ball they come now back on the inside. Dangerous for the Kiwis. Defence will have to be sound, and it is through Quentin Ponga. And over the top goes McCracken. There's the try line. That's the work ahead of the Great Britain team. They desperately would like to score a try early on. They will appeal for that. Senior gets a hand to it. I don't think he got a clean hand to it. Harrigan will go upstairs just to check and see whether a try has been scored.
Well, the kicking game was lacking last week, and Andy Farrell putting in a deft little touch here off his right foot. Keith Senior coming down. And no, I don't think he got that one there. Just not getting downward pressure on the ball. Having a look at it from this angle. Oh, there's only, geez, millimetres away, Dale. I think that Halligan will give that one the miss, and they'll go for the retap on the 22.
Absolutely. There's no way they could call that home. It would be a travesty of justice if they did. And I don't think the senior will be celebrating it all. Here it comes. No try. Well, wouldn't take a rocket scientist to work that one out. But so the question was, you know, was Sean in good body position to cover it up? And obviously not, because the first hand to it was seniors. But still Sean Hoppy. We'll be watching that man. He's got plenty of wheels as a senior. And the English crowd applauding the fact that Edu misses the ball on return. There's a head up taken. Solid defence too from the skipper from Great Britain. Puts it on to Logan Swan. Onto Quentin Ponga. Never a backward step. He's been given some assistance with Craig Smith joining the Kiwi squad from the interchange bench this time around. Across to Paul. Paul the short pass and flat. Comes across to Wiki. Well wrapped up though by Wiki. Tony Smith the tackler. Looking for runners now. Short ball finds Logan Swan. Too flat-footed to be too effective in that run. The tackle made. Newton, and downstairs assisted by Paul Sculthorpe. Across now for Stacey Jones. Puts the little kick in. His kicking game has been much better. He's certainly benefited by having Robbie Paul's unpredictable style. Now that seems to be some sort of shepherding to allow him back into the field of play. Certainly the Kiwis have little chance of tackling him in the end goal as Robinson breaks with a fast break through to centre field and taken down 18 out from his line.
Well, I don't think there's much in that, Dale. Chris Redlinski getting back and does a great job. Robinson stood his ground. He didn't have to move out the way, and that's a great kick and also an equally good way to get out of your in-goal area.
First 10 minutes of the game, and Great Britain starting with a bit more fire this time. Remember last week it was only about the last 20 minutes where the Kiwis were able to draw away to an impressive 36-16 victory, but it was hard fought, and it will be no different this weekend as well. There's Frank Endicott just in picture. I don't suppose he'd be as nervous as he has been in the past, having already secured the series victory. That kick too deep though from Great Britain's Farrelly, and what a wonderful player this man has been for his country, the youngest ever captain of Great Britain. And they'll be needing plenty of that experience for a victory today against the Kiwis, as Hoppy plays the ball centre field now, looking for the runners, and they'll be content with a settler there. 12 metres gain, second tackle. This is the third play now. Little dummy from Joe Vangana. Over the top goes Dale Lawton, loves it hard and heavy up the middle, and that's what he'll get from Joe all day. Back across now they come. That one, and Kevin Edel takes his eye off the ball, looks up at his captain almost to say, what went wrong there? Well, I'll tell you what went wrong. The ball slipped through the hands. It's as basic as that, as the run is taken by Sean Long and wrapped up by Jared McCracken. Hasn't he relished the move to second row later in his career though, Dwayne? He's really been inspirational, certainly to some of the younger guys around him.
Oh, yeah, he absolutely has been, and you're given the old 1-2 there, Jared. He certainly takes no prisoners, and one of the impressive things has been his work rate. Really adjusted well to the second row position, and going back to the second test where he just broke from the scrum and was everywhere in the paddock, and you know, getting up from the scrum real quick and tackling these 5/8s and centres. Sean Long, of course, a new player coming in from Saints, cover for Yeston Harris, and that's one of the things I go to is this, you know, the Great Britain side having to make 5 changes from last week's side, 3 in the starting lineup and 2 changes from the bench. But Great Britain, Steve Kearney puts one on, and they decide to have a go. Dale Lawton's been waiting for an opportunity to get with it. It was a sly shot, and it's very uncharacteristic of Steve Kearney. You don't see him throw many, and I think he knows he's done wrong. Well, it has been one of the problems actually of Steve Kearney. He's, you know, he can give away a few penalties, silly penalties, and you know, I guess in test matches, you know, you just really got to be in there, and on the spur of the moment of things, that's just, you know, he looks like he's trying to pop the ball out, but I'll be optimistic and say that, Dale.
Yeah, I think that perhaps I jumped the gun too. That's what it looked like in the replay. Dale Lawton took exception, but I think he's been looking for an excuse to go on with it for some time. And Andy Farrell, Dale Lawton's one spoken to, and of course this will result in 2 points to the Great Britain team, and Steve Kearney escapes with just a warning, but a warning that will do well to be heeded by the entire team really. It's been a series played, you know, with a lot of skill but not a lot of dirt, so it's been good to watch in that sense, but certainly that little chip, I guess, at the ball or the head, whichever one it was, is going to result in 2 points. Here he is, Dale Lawton. He hasn't played a lot of the big time footballers. Lawton is checking to see how many tests he may have played.
More famous with his father Doug Lawton coming through the Widnes ranks, and of course coaching Leeds, and yeah, a very proud father and son.
Andy Farrell makes no mistake at all with it, and as I mentioned before, what a terrific player he has been. This is his 16th test, and still just 23 years old as the Great Britain team take a 2-0 lead at Watford. And you're watching the action here on the home of Rugby League Sky Sport. Here's Dale Lawton coming in once again. Perhaps he lifted it up a bit and incited Steve a little bit, but fortunately nobody sent off, no major drama.
Well, it's silly stuff by Kearney, and you know the Kiwis can't afford to do this. We've seen in both the first 2 tests that the Great Britain get away to a great start, and you know the Kiwis had to eventually wear them down. But you know, again, Great Britain getting off to a great start, being enthusiastic in their line, coming up 2 or 3 players each time, and they've been good in the field territory as well.
Defensively, they no doubt improved on a week ago, and Andy Goodway would have demanded that during the week, as did the British media. They've been giving them plenty, and they wouldn't have been enjoying the coverage that the team's been getting of late. As another penalty, Senior shakes his head in disbelief, but that's the call up. Although they have caught up on the penalty count, it's 4-3 now to the Kiwis. Never onside. Harrigan, no hesitation. 13 minutes gone, 2-0 is the scoreline here. Great Britain over New Zealand in the third and final test for 1998. The Kiwis looking for a historic whitewash as the tap's taken by Edu now. Across to Robbie Paul. Keeps it there for Stacey Jones. Cut out wide for the beast. There he is in full flight. There are a few better sights. He can't get around The tackle, though, of Francis Cummins, who puts him to the ground now, 25 metres out. That's a searching run from Stephen Kearney. Kearney trying to stand and offload. He's wrapped up in the tackle of Newton. Right centre field now, 18 from the line. Here it's now with Edu. Turns it on the right-hand side, back to Paul, back on the inside, Wagana! Smoking it at the moment as he's run down by Redlinski. 10 from the line, needs a quick play the ball. They're all over him at the moment, he can't get away with that. Here's Edu, will have a go by himself, tries to duck underneath the tackle of O'Connor, wrapped up by Redlinski. Back they come, quick hands is what's needed here as Stacey Jones shows it! Stacey Jones comes up 2 inches short, quick play the ball, Barnett, wide, must score, the Kiwis must score this time, and it's Halligan. Question on the pass, they will check it though, as Harrigan comes back, perhaps he's already called it in. The pass from Edel to Halligan may have been fractionally forward. Let's have a look at it now.
We'll have to go with the linesman on that. He's called it for the ref and inches away, but great work from Stacey Jones. The Kiwis showing that they can bust him right up the middle of the park with a couple of set moves and almost 4 on 2. And as I've said, that the Great Britain side are willing to show this Kiwi backline a bit of sideline, and their slide defence has been very good on that occasion. Only lucky that the pass was ruled forward.
Well, the Kiwis missed out on a number of tries they should have scored last week. And really, that one should have been theirs. They certainly had the overlap. They had the running, just the pass, fractionally forward. Still, that's the rules of rugby league. And a good decision made by the linesman and, of course, referee Bill Harrigan. Back now to the Great Britain team as it's towed through off the left boot. A searching kick that will be too heavy. And Farrell sends it to the dead end goal and will restart on the 20. As you can see there, captains the team that came to New Zealand, and of course the Kiwis having wonderful success a couple of seasons back too when they did come visiting Great Britain. Barnett will play it now. 28 out from the line is Kevin Edel. Gets a run, takes it from dummy half and is eventually wrapped up by Robinson. Slow to his feet. Now it's on to Halligan. Halligan works it across field and onto Pongia. Flat-footed on the run and unable to make much impression on that run, Logan Swan. Now it's with Edu. So we have the luxury of Henry Paul on the bench too. He will no doubt be used at some stage by Frank Endicott. Now the Kiwis through Robbie Paul. Holds up the pass, looking for Wiki to come back on the inside. Doesn't deliver the tackle made by Chris Joint. With assistance there wide by Keith Senior as they play the ball now on the far side of the field. The referee has seen something in there. And another penalty going against Great Britain, not allowing the tackled player to get up and play the ball.
Chris Joint not square at marker and just leaving the spot too early and getting round. No dummy half there, and Ruben Wiki really had to hustle to get back. But really, you know, the penalty count's starting to just climb up for the Great Britain side, and they can't afford to give away easy sets of 6 attacking with the Kiwis attacking inside the Great Britain try line.
Andy Goodway will have to be disappointed with the discipline being shown by his team at the moment. There he is, Chris Joint. 9 consecutive appearances against Great Britain, very experienced. And another opportunity for Daryl Halligan. 32 years of age. In his 18th test match, and of course for the Sydney Bulldogs, it's time for the Kiwis as he kicks the ball high and straight enough for the Jazz. That's it, it's 2-2. And New Zealand level it with Great Britain at Vicarage Road in Watford through the boot of Daryl Halligan. They say through the year I was hearing that, a try is worth 4 for every team except the Bulldogs, where it's worth 6 because Halligan's taking the conversions. Yeah,
he really has had an exceptional year with the Bulldogs, and just carving out a fantastic career, and going past where 30 consecutive kicks he made to go on and beat Mick Cronin's record. Just absolutely great work by Daryl Halligan.
The flare is on. That's him there with the ball. Gets up and plays it. He's replaced Terry O'Connor as the Great Britain team work away from their danger zone. Up to make the tackle is Stacey Jones, assisted by Halligan. The ball player is Paul Sculthorpe. And the runner at the moment getting away is Gary Connolly. Haven't seen a lot of Gary so far in the match. Now, 32 from their own line as Great Britain work it through Farrell. Back on the inside comes to Senior. He's monstered in the tackle of McCracken, assisted by Robbie Paul. Up to his feet, cruise about 3 or 4 metres, goes unchecked by Halligan. This time to Lawton, wrapped up by his opposite number, and Quentin Pongia with assistance from Edu. To his feet now, plays it back to Newton, turns it on the right. This time they'll kick it downfield, searching for touch, and they'll find it this time as Redlinski puts the ball deeper for Great Britain, looking for field position. and finds it well. But you wonder, Dwayne Mann, whether or not at this stage of a series they should be looking to use it at every opportunity with the hands. They've got plenty of wheels, plenty of gas wide, and this time the Kiwis get to feed about 8 out from their own line. Yeah,
they'd be disappointed probably with the kicks. We've seen Andy Farrell inject himself reasonably well in the early stages of this game, but he's put 2 kicks dead in goal, and Radlinski finally touched it, just slowing the game down for the Great Britain side.
Giving it all now. Jones to dummy half. Robbie Paul, long and flat, finds Ruben Wiki, had few opportunities as well. Senior's been on him like a robber's dog, shadowing him. And now we've got Kevin Edel shaping wide, and another penalty. This time we're not playing the ball properly. It is international football, Ruben. You've been around a while, and there's no excuse really. Just a momentary lapse in concentration. Use the old foot on it, you'll get away with it. But Billy Harrigan wants to give the penalty. Let's have a go now. O'Leary. Picked up. Delivers it back to Newton, who spills the beans. The Kiwis come up with it. Play on, says Harrigan. Maybe they'll try and capitalise, and a drop ball, the simplest of balls. And Stephen Kearney, he would take 99 out of 100 of them, but puts the odd one down.
Yeah, real dipsy-doozy, flipsy-wheezy stuff this, and just pulling out of these pros, you wouldn't expect it, especially crucial. Every opportunity must count, and Great Britain again getting a good chance to reply.
Connolly dangerously close to the line with an opportunity that comes off that scrum. Now it's across to Robinson. We've seen how he can score them. Must be closed down early. And Sidet, who reads our mind, does just that. Tackle as well. Logan Swan now 8 metres out. This is the new man. This is Fleary, Darren Fleary. Keen to get on with it. He's already turned the ball over once in the first touch. He's up to play the ball right in front of the sticks as they change some angles. Back up on the inside they come. This is the hard-running second rower. Sculthorpe will get up and play the ball now. It's back now to Newton. Newton only about 8 metres out. Searching for a hole. Here's one that may open up if McCracken doesn't close it, and he does. So, Great Britain, through Tony Smith, plays it now. And they try a Stacey Jones routine from last week. Very dangerous. It's tapped back dead. And the man who does that gets to his feet is Sean Hoppy. Pressure on, not bad thinking from Radlinski, though. Searching wide for his wing three-quarters as they came through. Sean Hoppy, fortunately, able to get the jump on. In fact, it looks as though it was Robbie Paul who got his hand to it first.
Yeah, well, the Lions taking a leaf out of the Kiwis' book with these small chip kicks going back across the field, and Radlinski showing there that whatever Jones can do, he can do as well. Great Britain, a lot of ball in the last 5 minutes, and again getting another good opportunity to ruck this ball up. Tony Smith has looked very good with the British side. He's been industrious, been able to make some good clean line breaks, and he could be dangerous as they work closer towards the Kiwis' try line.
Newton from Bramley, the second division club, is tackled now, 25 from the line. Nice low tackle that time from Swan. McCracken over the top and assistance. Still, though, Great Britain have been kept down this area of the field, looking a bit more confident, is almost with a break through the line is their captain Farrell. Steve Kearney, the tackler. There's the try line. That's the amount of work the Great Britain team have as Lawton gets the ball. Says, I'll straighten and take it to Joe. Joe says, you can come at me all day because I'll wrap you, and he does. Now, Great Britain this time, trying for the little grubber kick. It's a chance at the moment. Jason Robinson scoops on it. Harrigan will call it and say, I think there was a knock on. No, he certainly wants to have a look at the screen. Is there a chance there's a 4 points in it, Dwayne?
Well, we'll have a look at it. It looked like it came off the boot and actually bounced back from Connolly back towards Robinson. And just a deft little chip kick there by Tony Smith. Connolly comes through, and it looks like maybe it's come off. Well, it's come off his shoulder. It's bounced back towards their own try line, so, it hasn't gone forward.
Jason Robinson's quick onto the ball. So it will be an interesting decision. From that angle, it looked as though the ball has gone backwards. Certainly the crowd think that Robinson has scored 4 points. It wouldn't surprise if that is the case. You know that in football down this side of the world anyway, the touch of a ball constitutes a knock on. This time around, though, perhaps Harrigan will let it go. So that's the question. Has it gone fractionally forward, or has the ball distinctly gone backwards? Certainly that's off his head, shoulder then head. Must have gone backwards. I think we might be looking at the first try of the match there, Dwayne Mann.
Well, I think so. I think it's just a really, deft little kick that got him behind, and you just have to say, whether the man upstairs rules that he had control of the ball. And as you say, it's come off the shoulder, then back off the side of the head.
There's been some criticism of the video referees already in the series. They've been changed for the second. The longer they take, the more chance you've got to think that that this will be a try to Great Britain. It's definitely gone backwards by the looks on that angle. So yeah, I'd have to think that that was a try. And Great Britain have been putting some pressure on the Kiwi line, as that's Jason Robinson in picture on the big screen at Watford. You'll notice the very shallow in goals, which is not surprising. And here we go, waiting for the big info, the build-up, and it is a try. Well, I guess the Kiwis can't really complain about that one.
Well, they were under a bit of pressure and they failed to just retain and keep that ball and come out from under their own try line. But Jason Robinson, a great effort from him. He'll get around and just poach those ones, and one of the easiest ones he'll score.
Successive try. Every test he plays, he seems to score a try. And last week's one was great. This one was a bit more of an opportunist's try, but you forced to play, a chance to come up with the goods, and that's what's happened. The Kiwis look around at the referee Bill Halligan saying, what if, couldn't be. Well, that's the call though, and the lead extended to 6 points to 2. Great Britain in this third and final test from Vicarage Road in Watford. Action coming to you on Sky. There we go. Jason Robinson, what a great player he has been, and wouldn't he be wonderful in a Warriors strip one day or something? He certainly got some gas. Andy Farrell adds the extras. 8 points to 2. Certainly we've seen the Kiwis come back. They were down at half-time last week, and we know what they did to the Great Britain team in the second half.
Yeah, the Kiwis have defended their try line reasonably well right throughout this series. They've been greater on their own line, getting up. There's been players back there. This is just a good kick on that occasion. That was one of those deft little inside kicks on the inside of the foot, and pretty hard to defend against. And that's just enthusiasm from this British Lions side to get up there, and we've seen that consistently of them over the first 2 tests.
This time Pongia is wrapped up by Chris Joint as the Kiwis will look to get down to the other end of the field, this time through Logan Swan. Got a replacement that looks to be Nathan Kalis, may have made his way onto the field. Looking for the debut of Illawarra's Craig Smith. 14 weeks without a game of football. He has been training the house down, and as a reward, named on the interchange bench for his debut test for the Kiwis is Craig Smith, whose connections, I'm told, come from Kaitaia to Tyrant, same family as Tyrant. So a big g'day to all those watchers of rugby league in the far north as the Kiwis look to come back on the Aussies. A little juggle this time around from Stacey Jones. Not much support from him as Fleary comes in and muscles our little bloke at the to ground. I'm sure that wouldn't have escaped the attention of some of our bigger prop forwards. Might square up a bit later on in the game. This time the kick on the third tackle catches them unawares for a moment as Radlinski toes it forward. Slickly gets hold of the ball about 25 out from his own line. 25 minutes gone, 8-2 the scoreline as Robinson tries to get away from Swan. Wrapped up, and the tackle made by Nathan Kalis. As we've mentioned, his connections are from down Taranaki way as well. And Wellington through his old man. There's the tackle again. He's keeping busy, Logan Swan. In fact, if there is a player in the Kiwi team that is not flashy but does get through a lot of work, it is Logan Swan, and sometimes his efforts unheralded. Yeah, well, Coach Frank Endicott's been giving Logan Swan a particular role, and he's doing what the coach has asked him. He's been busy around the paddock, and we know he's got some ball skills, but he's playing a role out there that complements the second rows of this Kiwi side. Chris Joint with a darting run. Catching 5 or 6 metres this time. An interesting sort of bomb as Barnett climbs up, picks it out of the sky, said I'll take it up where I left off last week. But the referee has awarded a penalty. I'm just trying to see
Fleury's come through, Darren Fleury's come through, and he's taken Logan Swan and just given him a shove in the back and taken him out of the way. So we'll see the Kiwis get the penalty and kick for touch. But Barnett, he's been really good under the high ball and just absolutely rock solid. But this Great Britain side, really, they've put their kicking game in action this week. It was something that was lacking in the second test.
As I said, Edu, no doubt will be replaced at some stage by Henry Paul, but Sid's getting through a amount of work at the moment himself.
Yeah, Sid's been very good. Probably one of the things Sid has been doing, he's been very good at trying to milk the penalty. When he's had a shot at dummy half, He's been running to some of these defenders with their backs to him or catching them inside the 10 metres. So, that has been Sid's play of late, but, we know that he can run, get out of there very quick and chip kick over. So, knowing Sid's got probably another 20 minutes or so to show his stuff, I think he'll be pretty dangerous when we wind out the first half. And the British side will have to keep a close eye on him.
Ruben Wiki with an uncharacteristic blue. He sent it wide. I'm sure that they've practiced this. Sight unseen, flicked it over to Sean Hoppy, who had just overrun the ball, and the Kiwis lose an opportunity as it goes into touch. Scrum feed going the way of Great Britain. There's Ruben Wiki. An unusual look this time around there, Rube.
Yeah, it's just continued poor start from the Kiwis, finding themselves flat and just, bunched up on each other as they look to spin the ball wide.
So Terry O'Connor makes his way back onto the field. Not sure if he'll replace Fleary or if Dale, yes, he has indeed. Fleary off, the big man back on. Here's a run now through senior, wrapped up by Robbie Paul. The Kiwis will have to stay in the game. They can ill afford to concede another try at this stage of the game. 27 minutes gone, 8-2 the scoreline in the third and final test of the Kiwi tour of Great Britain for 98 as we work across field now through Great Britain. A little dummy from Farrell. Closed down from behind Ruben Wiki. To his feet quickly is Farrell. He'll play it, and it's set back on the inside there from Sculthorpe. There's a nervous Great Britain coach, Andy Goodway. Plenty nervous too. People saying that he's got to go as the tackle is made by Nathan Kalis. Sid Edu. O'Connor plays it back. 18 from the line. Short side. Grubber kick. Bounces up okay for Sean Hoppy. Gets away 3 or 4 metres, but important meterage for the Kiwis. Just need to settle now as Barnett realises the urgency. Takes it forward. Nothing flashy. 2 gone in the set of 6. And they're up to the 20-metre line. Hoppy now to dummy half. Will again look for a runner. Just conservative approach at this stage, and that's what's provided by the captain, courageous Quentin Pongia. And there's 22 out from their own line. Play number 4 on the set. The run comes from Nathan Kalis. He gets bundled backwards with enthusiastic defence, and certainly the Great Britain's defensive effort at the start of this third test has been better than at the start of the first 2.
Yeah, well, they know they have to stop this Kiwi side from offloading as we watch Harrigan give away another penalty to the Kiwis, this time catching Newton up offside.
Heartbreaking for the Great Britain team that at least twice, perhaps it's 3 or 4 times, where they've conceded a penalty on the 5th tackle. They've done the hard work, they've tackled well and kept the Kiwis contained, and yet just sneaking offside. Harrigan comes back, pings them. In fact, he's calling over Farrell, Captain Andy Farrell, and Quentin Pongia.
Well, he's just telling both sides, both captains, to keep their players, keep them apart, keep the game clean, keep it open. That's what, Harrigan's style of refereeing. He'll let the game flow if he feels that the sides are just giving everybody an equal chance around the ruck and from the 10-metre rule.
So now, inside the Great Britain territories, the tap has taken 45 metres out. Runners. This guy will go all day. He just does not seem to stop. That's Quentin Pongia. And as a captain, I think he's provided the inspiration for this Kiwi team that has plenty to do with the success they're enjoying across there.
Well, he has. He's absolutely just grown in stature in this role, and his game has improved out of sight. Quentin Pongia. This time another wide shot for Hero.
Sean Long, the tackler, with assistance from Jason Robinson, but in good field position, the Kiwis best for a while as they're 18 out through Robbie Paul. Short ball holds it up, Logan Swan. Swan will try and overrun through senior, can't get through. Taken now 15 metres out, 10 of them from the far touch. Sededu decides to go himself. Short ball, he finds Hoppy. Hoppy holds on to it, he's got 3 defenders there, and they make the play. About 8 metres out from the line. Edu. Long ball as they come wide. Crossfield bomb, this is it. Searching wide, too deep though. Taken in the end goal anyway by Jason Robinson. A little misdirected, and an opportunity for the Kiwis not really utilised as well as it could have been. And Great Britain work it away. 8-2 the score remains, 25 out from their own line. Robinson to dummy half. On the right, the charging Farrell. Certainly if Great Britain look for inspiration, they need look no further than their back rower, who continues to provide just that as the offload comes from Sculthorpe. Now the Kiwis close them down. The tackle is made on the number 8, Terry O'Connor, the Wigan prop forward. And he's taken now, there's halfway, right in front of him. Dale Lawton, he's game. Give him that, got plenty of ticker. As he gets up and plays it back quickly for Newton. Haven't seen him running much from dummy half. Offloads it late, ball's gone to ground. Total on, clever thinking. Picked up there by Sean Long. The referee calls for a knock on. They dispute that, especially Tony Smith. But the call has been made. The scrum will be packed down.
Yeah, it's just, you know, they've done some good work to try and get out of their own half, but he's called a lost ball knock on perhaps from the halfback there, as Tony Smith just goes to the ground and loses the ball forward. And a bit of a let-off for the Kiwi side.
Action coming to you live on Sky, the home of Rugby League. Last game of the year for the Kiwis, and let's hope they're able to finish it on the same high that we finished up just 1 week ago today when they wrapped up the series. Now looking for the whitewash. Certainly the Great Britain team more spirited, as Darren Fleary back on at the moment. And getting some work in. This time around it's to Joe Vangana. There's been plenty prepared to get up. He's upended. Stacey Jones puts one on. Here comes Fleary. Nothing really. Oh, there's one good shot's got in there. I shouldn't call it good, but I mean one clean one. They're going off on it a bit. I don't suppose that this is what we want to see in international football, but they might have. It's getting decidedly ugly. Fortunately, most of the guys trying to pull the main battlers away from each other. But I did, in a way, not surprised that it has occurred. Let's hope now that they've released that little bit and they can get on with the game of football. But no surprise to me that a Stoush-up ended up in the game. Look how they upend Vangana. That could be very dangerous.
Well, that's going to be a penalty. The hands are, you know, down in between the legs as they lift them, and you know, they're just going to go on with it. But I mean, we'll see after the game these two sides shake hands and kiss and make up. But at this stage, there's just so much on it, and you wouldn't want to throw a couple of McCracken there, Sculthorpe and McCracken go head and tongs for each other. And yes, oh, it's all on again. He's on and spills over, and oh, you know, Harrigan's got a job on his hands to try and settle these teams down. The Kiwis, they just haven't been on their game. They've been a wee bit ruffled, but there's a lot at stake on this, and you know, both sides, the Lions showing that they want to put the great back into Britain, and the Kiwis, you know, just want to do so much to go make this 3-0 whitewash. But he's given McCracken 10.
Well, I can't quite understand that. That would be on the report of the touch judge, and we're going to square things out as well. And Sculthorpe will go to the bin. Jared McCracken probably getting in some practice. I hear he's going head-to-head with Mark Oi Jacko in a boxing match that's planning for Australia. But, oh well, that'll even things up. 10 minutes each. It is a test match. I thought if one side was penalised with 10 minutes, then it would be a huge advantage to the other. But I think that sort of levels things out, really, Dwayne.
Yeah, you know, both sides just, you know, really, and especially the Kiwis, just have to settle down and play football, you know, and make sure they control what position they have. And we've seen that they've, you know, been able to get across at the Great Britain sideline, but just, you know, the ruling of a forward pass. And again, another high shot as Fleury comes flying in at Vangana.
Fleary on for Dale Lawton at the moment as Vangana comes to his feet. 25 metres out. Quentin Pongia straightens the attack. This is what we expect from an experienced prop forward, to take it to centre field. Has he lost the ball? The referee will say that was unassisted cue, as he says a few words, and there's still some feelings running fairly hot. Skipper on skipper. Playing 12 men out to the half-time break. He's not overly happy with the decision there by Harrigan, and we haven't had an opportunity to see a replay. So that one will go unchecked as we go now to Sean Long. And the St Helens standoff is wrapped up. 15 from his own line. Henry Paul is on for the last 5 or 6 minutes. Not a bad move from Frank Endicott too, bearing in mind we are playing 12 on 12. Jason Robinson will relish this opportunity too. We must close him down. Tackle made there by Kevin Edor and Stephen Kearney. But Henry Paul, what can we expect for him to provide? Bar that first tackle, because he's already into the action.
Well, you know, Henry and his brother Robbie just have that, you know, uncanny ability just to make a break out of absolutely nothing. And this ball here will bite the chalk and go over, and we'll have a scrum just outside of the Kiwis try line. But yeah, Robbie, Paul and Henry, they're just so fast over 5 metres, their acceleration, and they're just their clever ball skills. And, you know, we can expect to see just more of the same from his appearance in the second test.
There's Andy Farrell with a good kick to find good field position, although it will be a Kiwi feed. And there's a really there's a neat rivalry between the two brothers that I think you know, all Kiwis can associate with. And of course they're turning out for Bradford together next year. And it was interesting to hear Robbie saying that the lad wants the number 6 jersey, you know, his younger brother Henry. It's getting pretty heavy in there. That little backflip on Henry Paul. Now's the Kiwis 30 up from the line. They work to short side to Edor. Kevin Edor Gets it wide now. He's on to Halligan. And Halligan is bundled to touch. I don't think Kevin did him too many favours. It's a late tackle that has been questioned as well. But Kevin might have been better to come infield a bit more. Redlinski, the tackler, assisted by Robinson. But he really didn't have much room to move into Daryl Halligan on receipt of the football. And we'll have a scrum to be fed by Great Britain, 30 out from their own line.
Yeah, that's that sliding defence from the Great Britain side. They're just able to, you know, just let these show a bit of sideline. And Iro, yeah, he didn't position Halligan that well. And there's momentum with the Great Britain side. They were able to just, you know, push him across and put him out outside the sideline.
That will be some interesting lineup. As you can see, the Great Britain viewers, we're looking at Wigan against Brisbane. Should be quite a matchup. As the offload comes to the hands of O'Connor. Now it's on to Senior. Better play this time around from Great Britain. Wonderfully closed down there too. The little halfback is nailed. Tony Smith says, well, welcome to Watford, I guess, from Henry Paul, who's busying himself in the last 5 or 6 minutes before the break. Out of standoff, Sean Long showing some gas. The inside ball must have been forward, but not according to the touch judges or referee Harrigan. Now it's on to Nugent. Plenty on here for the Great Britain team. They go for the grubber. Not the best option, as Stacey Jones says he shouldn't have done that, Andy. Comes away with the ball for the Kiwi team. And now Sean Hoppy will settle it down. Very dangerous. More of a chance, I would think, through the hands.
Yeah. Looking to shift the ball through the hands, but he took the option to put it on the ground. And yeah, Andy Farrell normally, you know, just so big, you would have backed himself to maybe take those defenders on.
Sean Long makes the tackle on Kevin Edel. It goes now to Halligan. That's halfway. On it goes to Paul, back on the inside comes Kearney. Here's Stacey Jones, keeps the ball alive. The spin comes off Henry Paul. Hard to put to ground. Eventually he is closed down. 8 points to 2. 5 out from half time. And there's a little knock on a dummy half. Well, if there's an element of the Beast's game that lets him down, it's his hands. And this time around, nobody there. And it's happened plenty of times in his career. When he's good, but when he's bad, he's ordinary.
Yeah, he's had the mocker shocker. Sean Long trying hard, and that was a nice ball he got away to Connolly on the inside. Ruben Wiki being strong on defence, as you'd expect. But yeah, you know, a big ask for Sean Long, and you know, Andy Goodway, he said right through that the lack of preparation for his team, saying that with the Kiwis coming off a well-thought hard test series against the Australians, they've come over to this Great Britain soil pretty much match prime. Robinson goes straight for once. We're seeing him dart across the field, but yeah, they'll have to watch him very quick.
Now Great Britain wanting to put some points on the board. This is where the Kiwi team are vulnerable. This is where games are won and lost. The 5 before and after the split. And they're 8-2 down at the moment, just on 2.5 minutes of play. And even a penalty, which no doubt Farrell will gladly accept the opportunity to extend the lead to 10-2 at the break. This will soak up most of the time. A fairly lacklustre half. You notice the line break's just 1-0. Well, I mean, it's not a very good stat, is it, after 40 minutes of football?
Yeah, you know, the Kiwis just haven't had that field position and really haven't had the pull for a while. And Great Britain just, yeah, again, we said, being enthusiastic. They know that the importance of this game. Of course, we think back to 71 when the Kiwis had their last victory some 27 years ago when taking out a series in Great Britain soil with the Laurie Barnchard side. Of course, players on that day, Jimmy Fisher, you know, and out at hooker, big man, and you know, Mocky Brereton used to run over them on the wing. And actually, a big hello to Vic Howell and the boys down Whangamata. I know that they're you know, really behind this Kiwi side, as of course there are a lot of people up and down the country hoping that the Kiwis can go on and of course take this 3-0.
We look for Farrell to add the extras. This will take him to a 10-2 scoreline at the break. Well, certainly the reputation of Kiwi Rugby League players has been enhanced by the performance of the Kiwis on this tour. A short tour, just 3 tests. But we'll just wait on this kick from Andy Farrell. And this time the 2 points is a mere formality, 10-2. Having spent a lot of time over in Great Britain, though, I mean, they rate Kiwi League players highly. Will they rate them even higher now after this tour?
Well, I think, yeah, we've definitely seen a swing with, you know, the Kiwis establish themselves firmly as number 2, and Australia continue to set the benchmark, and with Wayne Bennett, of course, taking over the reins from Bobby Fulton, perhaps, you know, we'll see this Australian side kick on as they showed in their test matches against the Kiwis. You know, this football in the Northern Hemisphere really has some problems, and they're looking to address them. And it's very important that oh, geez, look at that, as they just bustle Wagenaar, and he's lucky to get the ball back inside. But this Great Britain team, they certainly know the importance of this and really want to come up. They'll have to come out in the second half. They've set themselves a precedent to carry on with.
I've got to say I'm hugely impressed by what Joe Wagenaar just did. A little bit of luck, sure, but he had 4 guys bundling him to touch, and he was able to get the ball back and it stayed alive. Senior is sin binned after this incident. And the referee just saying he's hanging on him for too long. So 45 seconds out, leaving it behind this time as Kearney picks up with it. There we go, first tackle. Slow to his feet. They'll wind down the clock. Harrigan will blow the whistle up in 30-odd seconds or so. But here's a chance now as Henry Paul puts the pedal down. Flung the ground under the tackle of Chris Joint. To his feet now, Paul. Back on the inside, they come to Stacey Jones. Will he run it himself? Goes with a grubber kick. He's taken out of the play by Fleury. Never looked like getting out of the way. And almost a sin bin offence for that one too. Fleury just took him right out of the play. And didn't need to. Shoulders Stacey Jones. That was an effective play for the Kiwis last week. Wasn't ever going to get near the ball. There he is, Darren Fleury. And a chance now for Halligan from wide out. Might just have a shot at goal. Now the referee is signalling to one of the players. Not sure what he's motioning for. Got any ideas, Dwayne?
Yeah, well, he's had a real tough time trying to keep these sides, you know, obeying to the rules, and looks like maybe he's called a... Oh, it's hard to say, mate. Maybe there's a blood burn, or maybe he's talking about one of the trainers or something. Yeah, we'll look at Halligan to probably take a shot at goal here and just edge themselves closer.
Well, it seems that somebody's been given the marching orders. He must have been feeling some sort of abuse at Harrigan. And here we go now. Daryl Halligan looking to get 2 points for the Kiwis this time. Well, I mean, it just doesn't happen. I don't know what's going on today. A couple of these... And Daryl Halligan that gets us underway. Will they be able to repeat what they did just 7 days ago? As Fleury, under a bit of pressure in the end goal, takes the ball, then takes the tackle of Logan Swan, who turtles him as well for good measure as he plays the ball 10 metres out from his own line. Great Britain. And the Kiwis will no doubt be fired up. There's Henry Paul into the action immediately with Stephen Kearney. 10 out from the line in front of their posts. Up to play it as O'Connor. The short ball now. The run comes from their skipper, Farrell. He hasn't taken a backward step and certainly has been inspirational as far as leading from the front is concerned. Prepared to take the ball in as O'Connor reels in a tackle, gets away from one. Little hole opens up the middle and capitalised by Terry Newton, the Bramley hooker, who takes them to about 35 metres out from their own line now. The run comes from Robinson. Dangerous, fast, scintillating on the attackers. Jason Robinson is the Great Britain team working immediately wide. The tackle is made on their number 5, Francis Cummins, the leads wing 3/4 as he plays it back now to Sean Long. Long works it across field, looking dangerous. The grubber kick through as a stab towards the end goal. Pressure on Halligan, and he responds well to the pressure, cleans it up, tradesman-like, and is tackled a few metres out from his own line. Barnett into dummy half.
Oh, what a blimmin' shocker of a start from the Kiwis, but you know, Great Britain absolutely on fire as they come out of the second half and just throw everything at the Kiwis line. And you know, the Kiwis will just absolutely have to wake up quickly. Obviously, Frank Endicott's words at half-time, and there we watch Craig Smith get his first touch of the ball. We hear he's been champing at the bit to get out there. And very important that the Kiwis return this set of 6 well.
Nice offload from Joe Wagenaar. Finds Stacey Jones in a bit of a hole. That's closed up quickly. The other tackle made by Sean Long, assisted by Paul Sculthorpe back on the field after spending time in the bin. Short ball wide. They come across now. A strong run up the short side as Ruben Wiki comes in to assist. But good play there by the Kiwis as they go across field. Now this is Barnett, turns it back on the inside, no one home. The ball is picked up there by Logan Swan. Bounces it backwards now to Kevin Edor. Perhaps something out of nothing as Edor fans off one. A hole opens up for the Beast. He comes at Ridlinski, puts him to the ground now, needs to be quick to his feet when the play the ball. He's there. Halligan now across to Jones. Jones with almost a cut-out ball into space now. This is Henry Paul. Stands, delivers back on the inside. The grubber kick from McCracken has been touched by Great Britain. Scooped on by Henry Paul, and now it's on to it. Beautiful ball Sean Hoppy gets it on to Henry Paul, and the Kiwis are into the action right after half-time with a wonderful try, keeping the ball alive. Eddie Goodway can't believe it. Henry Paul's there to collect the pass from Sean Hoppy, and the Kiwis come back. It's 10-6 with a kick to come from wide out.
Well, end-to-end stuff as the Kiwis just launched themselves back at this Great Britain side, and Robbie Paul just making a good little touch, being able to stand on his feet and deliver the ball. McCracken putting the ball to toe, and it comes back, and the Kiwis just keep getting this ball, and we just see a nice play. Sean Hoppy just positioning the old Carlos Spencer, no-look pass.
Good pass from Sean Hoppy. A little bit of luck in that the grubber kick. You don't see that coming off the boot of McCracken very much. He tends to go and take it in strong himself. The grubber kick bounces back. Nice play from Ruben Wiki. Clever little pass here from Sean Hoppy. Lovely ball to Henry Paul. And the boys are celebrating, and well, they might, as Henry Paul to try scoring consecutive tests against the Poms. And, of course, joining his brother Robbie at Bradford. And there's the $1 million smile. Nice work there, Henry. Looking the goods. And of course his mum and dad out there in Te Atatū in Auckland will no doubt be enjoying watching this test, as is Frank Endicott. He would have asked his boys to get straight back into the scoring. That's what they've done, as Daryl Halligan looks to add the extras from wide out. He's missed 2 already today, which is a little bit of surprise for Kiwi fans. You used to seeing him slot them from all over the field. This time, no mistake. Sweet as a nut as he grabs the extra 2 points, and the Kiwis looking 10-8, and perhaps we are looking at a repeat of it 7 days ago. Certainly that's the start they needed in the second 40.
Yeah, as you look at the replay here, just Sean Hoppy able to take his man in, very limited room, probably, you know, only 3 or 4 metres of the sideline left, but very clever play and just great work from Henry Paul. And of course when Robbie Paul made his debut in the Anzac Day test, that completed the 29th set of brothers to play for New Zealand. And as you said, you know, very proud parents up there in Te Atatū in Auckland.
29 sets, yeah, well, I guess it proves what a family game the code is in New Zealand, to have so many international representatives, siblings, Ropattis, Mans, can go on with it, Baileys, don't stop us.
I guess we go back to the break just before the try where Kevin Udai just got up and just busted them right up the middle, and we had Peter Ropati give a great analogy of the beast over the last years since his debut back in '87, and just a fantastic run. That's what he's capable of. He had a very slow, probably a poor, uncontrolled start in the first half, so, you know, look for Kevin to really, this could be his last test match out there in the Kiwi colours, so he'll be looking for more breaks like that.
Now this man, Mr. Consistency, Daryl Halligan, and it's never ruffled his feathers, the fact that he hasn't been chosen for tours, for test matches, but whenever he's been called upon, he's given his all for his country, and I think we should take our hat off to what he's been able to contribute to New Zealand League. As the hit-up is taken by Craig Smith from Illawarra. As I mentioned, he was spent the last part of the season on suspension after being ordered off in a match against the Warriors at Ericsson Stadium, as the Kiwis, with a new lease of life, finding Joe Vagana wide and prepared with confidence to let the ball go. They floated wide. This time it's on to Ruben Wiki. Wiki now shapes, straightens, charges in at Tony Smith, almost busts the line as well, 26 metres out. Dummy half is Robbie Paul. He'll gas it towards centre field. Gets it wide now. The Kiwis looking better. The cutout ball wide to Logan Swan. The man we're talking about, the beast, shrugs off one, pushes off another, has it go to the line, and this is precisely what we're talking about. When he's good, he's very good, but sometimes he can be, so bad. This time the ball perhaps knocked out of his hands rather than bad hands. In fact, could suggest that it was stripped in actual fact by Jason Robinson, certainly assisted. Perhaps been a bit harsh on Kevin to say that he dropped the ball.
Yeah, the Kiwis just need to be a wee bit sharper and precise on their change of angles. They're turning the ball back inside, but just not hitting the hole, you know, with the right timing. And you know, they will cause this Great Britain side a wee bit of trouble as the time goes on. We've seen that consistently over the first 2 test matches. In this Great Britain side, they know that the huge task they have in front of them, and you know, have to really keep themselves on guard and watch Henry Paul, especially out of dummy half.
There's Farrell now. Getting into plenty of work. 10-8 the scoreline. The Kiwis very much in touch with this match at the moment as the surge is taken by O'Connor. A good run from the prop forward as well. He does extremely well. This team's stacked full of Wigan players, which is no real surprise, considering the stature with which that team is held. Here's Richie Barnett with the inside ball to Hoppy. And it's been a real joy to watch, actually, Richie Barnett's returning of the football. A specialist wing, which certainly does well at fullback. able to size up a gap, and he's got the pace off the mark to get him through that first line of defence. Illustrated no better than the last try scored by the Kiwis last week. Here's Stephen Kearney as a hole almost opens up from his closed down by Redlinski. Flary, an assistant who seems to have been troubled after that tackle. Hit up time taken now. It's Smith. Wrapped up there in the tackle of Andy Farrell. Plays it back now for Jones. Jones gets it wide. This is where they're very dangerous as Joe Vangana puts some pressure on the defence. The tackle is made by Tony Smith and Sean Long. Coming back onto the field is Keith Senior after spending time in the bin. As the Kiwis now 25 metres out, gets it on to Paul, who's wrapped up centre field, and 22 out from the line. Lays it back now to his brother Robbie. Turns it on to Stacey Jones. That's the kick off the right-hand side of the boot, not half man. And Redlinski is forced into the end goal. The referee will say he took it outside the end goal, but his momentum carried it back over the line, and quick defence from the Kiwis makes sure that he stays there. That's a good kick from Stacey Jones. It's not easy to do, to be shaping to go left and to put it off the right-hand side of the boot. Classy stuff. The young former Point Chef player's been practicing at Walker Park, I think.
Yeah, real spoiled for choices where he's going to place this kick. And the good thing is that Redlinski has to turn it, actually his back is to the Kiwis, and he takes the ball and ends up putting it across his own line. And, you know, just options for Jones either side where he can put that ball. Robinson is you know, not dropping back probably quick enough and not guarding his line, and of course being a wee bit shorter than his opposite. You know, there could be an easy opportunity to get up high above Robinson if they decide to put the kick his way.
Speed out of the mark, you mentioned Dwayne, that's what Henry Paul was just involved. When we get the penalty, when I say we, the New Zealand team get the penalty, and rightfully so, Terry O'Connor who puts a hand in there as he tries to get up, and quite rightfully referee Harrigan will give the penalty. This will be 2 points. We'll square it up with 30 odd minutes of play in the third and final test from Watford. The Kiwis looking at a 10-all scoreline, courtesy of the boot of Halligan. That's assuming that he gets it, but you'd be a brave man to bet against him getting it from that position.
Oh, you'd have to have you know, money in your pockets, mate, to be able to bet against it. But you know, the game probably settling down a wee bit, and there's players returning from the sin bin. And you know, if you look back over recent history, it was only 1996 when Darryl Powell was sent off here in New Zealand in the Test match against these two sides. And there's only been 5 British and 3 Kiwi players have been sent off over the career these two sides countries have met. And you know, let's just hope they settle down and we keep all players on the paddock.
Just to remind you of the overall stats as far as tests between these two countries are concerned. Great Britain has won 53. New Zealand, that kick is successful. New Zealand 28. 3 have been drawn. In Great Britain, the Poms lead 26-12 over New Zealand, so statistically very much against the Kiwi team. But as far as their performance this year in 1998 is concerned, they certainly looked the match, if not a better team all around than the Great Britain squad of 1998. Yeah,
you know, we look at this particular tour where they're playing no midweek games, and of course, you know, during those midweek games, perhaps where you would have been, you know, being able to see the likes of Lautiti and others and Vainikolo show their wares, but you know, without having that luxury, this side is just these 3 tough test matches, and been a very long season for both sides out there, and you know, really just wanting to throw everything into these last 30 minutes or so.
The Kiwis putting plenty of pressure on Great Britain as they try and work it away from their danger zone, and they still haven't been able to get past 15 metres from the line. Some torrid defence coming in now as they go 1, 2, 3. Kalis is on, the new breed of Kiwis. The guys coming through. Kalis, pull it to us. Smith, nice run from the skipper. If there's one thing about Andy Farrell, there's no way anyone could accuse him of not giving 100% every game, and he's been one of the standout players throughout the entire series for the Great Britain team. The kick downfield is a good one. Barnett takes it now, 20 from his own line, turns and shapes up, looking for some support, and again we see that loping style that is very unpredictable, and I guess reminds me of his Cronulla teammate of past, David Peachy, in returning the football. And this time around it's Kevin Edel, shrugs off 1, 2, 3, out of my way. And they seem hesitant to wrap up big Kevin Edel. There's Halligan, goes to dummy half. The Kiwis spread it wide. Hit up time for Kalis, Nathan Kalis in there to give prop Joe Vangana a bit of a rest. And hasn't it been great to see these young players from Penrith, Puletua, Illawarra's Craig Smith, Nathan Kalis out of Parramatta, making their mark in the international scene and wearing the black and white jersey with such pride as we come now for Stacey Jones. Jones now gets it back to Henry Paul. The quick inside pass on to Kearney. Dummies it to Steve Kearney. Holds it up, delivers it up for McCracken. McCracken looking for a hole. Cummins comes over the top, closes him down, as does the replacement on there in number 15. Now they come over the top as the ball is floated. This is an opportunity. They get it across to Halligan, but Halligan will no doubt just take the tackle. He does wisely, and Sean Long and Jason Robinson effect that tackle. 10-all is the scoreline in the third and final test match as Stacey Jones goes to the air. Was he in front? That's the question of Robbie Paul. High anyway as Redlinski shows plenty of courage and skill and closes down a potential threat to the Great Britain team. They'll play the ball 7 out from their own line.
Yeah, Redlinski very good under the high ball, and really both teams have to really get out and put a bit more pressure on these kickers. They've been able to get the ball away pretty much at ease, and we'll look at a penalty here going to the Great British side as Wiki just infringes at the play the ball area. But the Kiwis, they have looked very dangerous of late. They've just picked up the tempo. The forwards have really rallied on the kick return and been able to get back in numbers, be a lot smarter with the ball, and they're starting to stand and offload and probably cause this Great Britain side a bit more trouble. Great Britain really, you know, to the large extent have only fed off these Kiwis' mistakes. If the Kiwis make errors, as they do in the first half, you know, they'll just give ample opportunity to the Great Britain side. But they've had enough ball and they really haven't been able to be that effective with it. We look at the penalty count, 11 for the Kiwis there.
11-6, it is a big penalty count. It looked like a bit of a sly elbow shot too and might earn some retribution. It doesn't, nobody notices. I'm sure that it doesn't go, or won't go unchecked by the man who received it, and that was Craig Smith. Little darting run for Sean Long. Few opportunities for the St Helens first 5. The standoff is referred to in rugby league. Mind you, we call it league here, they call it rugby over there, so it's all a little bit confusing with terminology. But certainly as far as skill level is concerned, you can't doubt that. And Richie Barnett again shows why he is rated so highly. As it gets on to Halligan, the beast down the left flank, tries to run over Jason Robinson, eventually closed down by Sculthorpe. And with some assistance there by the number 3, Gary Connolly. Now the Kiwis on attack as it comes across for Jones. Shows that Jones looks for the hole, gets through Senior, offloads a nice ball to Robbie Paul. And Robbie Paul will take another try, but it will maybe called forward. Harrigan will check. It seems not though. The touch judges have allowed that one to go through. And there was some dispute. I thought that the flags would go up immediately on the inside ball from Stacey Jones to Robbie Paul. It doesn't. The Kiwis break out to a lead 14 points to 10 with the kick to come.
Well, you watch the kick go up in the midfield, and the Great Britain players, you know, 2 of them have come offside, and just the ball, they just as if they don't want to put their hands to it. Richie Barnett just so good at returning the ball. A nice break up the sideline between Halligan and Iro, and the ball comes back inside Stacey Jones. You know, the little man to be able to bust through the line, still get his hands free and set Robbie Paul up. This 24-year-old playing his 3rd test match, goes under the post, and yeah, fantastic. Really on fire now as we look at the second half.
Well, the shades of last week's game, a lovely dummy and held up the pass beautifully. Robbie Paul in great position to receive, and that's precisely what Stacey Jones would have hoped for with that play, and that's to have someone on his hip to get the ball if he was able to slip it, and he does. 16-10. And memories of just 1 week ago when the Kiwis broke out at about this time, 30-odd minutes out. Of course, we went to 36-16. I doubt very much that we'll put on a scoreline of that magnitude, but nevertheless, we're on our way. 16 points to 10. The Kiwis, as you mentioned, Dwar, on fire.
Yeah, probably, you know, the kick really here. Just the players just getting a bit confused, and we see that this Kiwi side, they can launch an attack from deep inside their own half from anywhere. I think, you know, pay credit to Frank Endicott during the week. You know, a lot of concern just to how he would take his side, how they'd train and prepare. We know he gave his players 2 or 3 days R&R, and you know, in the second half, they've again been able to show the fresh legs and good use of the interchange bench to keep these forwards rotating. You know, choosing 3 forwards on the bench, you know, a big call, but one that's worked well for Frank. So, you know, he's done a fantastic job in gearing this team up.
The fitness levels of those 3 forwards, though, playing regularly in the Australian competition, has undoubtedly been high. And the likes of Puletua and Craig Smith and Nathan Kalis, all of them young, pumped up, got plenty of gas too when it comes to hit-ups, but you know, supremely fit. And I don't think they lose too much by having a 3 forward interchange bench. Back now to Barnett. Elusive runner as Quinton Pongia makes his way back onto the field. Captain Courageous, the big Q as he's called, and he'll no doubt relish the opportunity to get in there and mix it up with his Kiwi teammates, and hopefully a history-making 3-test clean sweep of the Great Britain team in England as Kalis goes forward, taken out by Senior eventually. The Kiwis now improving on the clean break stats, 5-4, and in the last little while certainly looking like they mean business in the second half. To his feet now, try scorer Robbie Paul. The short one comes across, playing with enthusiasm at the moment. The ball is busted, it's Ruben Wiki, and Wiki is claimed by Rydlinski, but plenty of pressure on the Great Britain defence. Plays it back now to Pongia, gets it wide. The Kiwis dangerous at this side of the field, this part of the field. Over the ball goes over the top, a cut-out pass, and it's taken in there by Richie Barnett. Taken now by Farrell. There's Andy Goodway, plenty of problems for the coach. Not just the job, but the game could well be slipping away. Halligan with some classy stuff. Stacey Jones has a shot at the field goal. Radlinski sees the danger, and it was never going near the crossbar anyway. Plucks it and rightfully takes it to ground on the 20-metre line. Great Britain with work to do to get away from their danger zone, and here is a danger man. His name is Jason Robinson, well closed down by the Kiwi defence.
Yeah, but you know, again, that Great Britain side, that time able to get pressure up on Daryl Halligan and on Stacey Jones before they get the kick away. That's what they need to do if they want to stay in this game. They really have to try and get out there and disturb the likes of Henry Paul's running and the likes of Stacey Jones. At that time, that kick, probably the drop kick, taking the head off an earthworm then, Dale.
That's hit up a second by Farrell, but with some problems, Terry O'Connor in back play. Now the offload. Great Britain will need to be quite inventive with their approach to the game. Their kicking game has been nullified by an enthusiastic defence. Field position, they haven't had much to celebrate in the second half as the ball comes now to centre field. Now there's the kicking game being employed. A grubber kick along, it's picked up by Hoppy, gets the ball spilled. There's a chance for Great Britain if they can collect the football. Slow to do so, they eventually do get it. The Kiwis wisely stayed away. And now, as Senior plays it, a chance for Great Britain. This is a one-out run by the replacement in number 15. We've got him listed. That's, let me see, Mike Forshaw. Now this set up taken by Chris Joynt, so the best chance for a while for Great Britain. 16-10 down on the scoreboard as we approach the last quarter of the game. Wide they come. Great Britain, the inside ball. The hard-running Keith Senior is taken out in a good tackle by Henry Paul. This distance from McCracken. Dummy half, short, long. Looking for something here, something to work. Some magic. Smith gets it on now to Skoltorp. Tries the grubber kick through. And really, that sort of play shouldn't be left to the second rowers. It's the sort of thing you need a nippy, darty scrum half or first five. In this mould, Stacey Jones might do the grubber and regather, but sometimes it's disappointing to see the second rowers attempting to make that play when really they have the size and speed and strength should pose more of a threat, taking the ball in hand towards the line. A nice run there from Henry Paul, takes the Kiwis 25 out from their own line.
Yeah, you know, he's a good player, though, Skolthorpe. He's pretty handy with the St Helens club. And, you know, yeah, you're right, Dale. On that opportunity, you're probably looking for maybe other ball players. But again, you look at these Paul players rucking the ball out, just able to spin so easily, just great agility and balance and, you know, causing problems as the game goes on.
Yeah, you'd think that they'd be good dancers because they've got the moves, haven't they? The pirouettes, and very elusive. Not a lot of size about them, but seems that almost everyone struggles to put them to ground. Both Henry and Robbie, as it comes back now for Stacey Jones, stabs the ball towards the end goal. He's played with a great deal of confidence, having the Paul brothers there on his hip. And I guess that little piece of magic where Stacey sometimes feels responsible to deliver, he can now rely on the very talented Paul brothers to deliver some of that magic, and takes a little bit of pressure off him and allows him to concentrate on things like his kicking game, which has improved as the series has progressed. Now Great Britain through Fleary once again, upended by Wiki and Henry Paul. They put on the ground 18 metres out from the Great Britain line. Short ball now as the Kiwis, resolute in defence, moving up collectively, putting a lot of pressure on. The inside ball from Farrell finds Connolly. He's closed down though by Puletua, and over the top Quinton Pongia. Dummy half. Newton makes a darting run himself. Little dummy, no one falls for it. Henry Paul upstairs, downstairs, making the play. Craig Smith. Was it Nathan Kalis? I think it might have been Kalis. The boys have decided to change their hairstyles, which is quite obvious. Not this man though, DJ Halligan.
It's a bit like yours, Dale. You've been able to dye yours grey.
Yes, it's coming along just nice. Just the same as Ropo's. And as we come centre field now, Barnett, nailed by Keith Senior. trouble there, but one of the Great Britain players receiving some attention. This is what we mean, acceleration off the mark. They just gas out of the dummy half spot. Both Henry and Robbie collect some very good metres for their team. As a hole appears wide, there's Pulatua out of his way. He says, pushes them off. What a wonderful try it was for him last week as well in front of the post, sure, but just showed some great strength to score a try under the sticks as the inside ball finds Henry Paul. Worms, squirms, spins, hits the deck and plays it back now for Steve Kearney. He shows it on the right. Kearney holds it up still, gets it on to Richie Barnett. Now that's an unpredictable play. Up on the inside comes Crackers, pass to the century from Crackers, on to Stacey, half on the century, on to Robbie Paul, smoking for the try. Robbie Paul's in for another one for the Kiwis.
Oh, that's absolutely champagne football. And Henry Paul goes over for his second touchdown of this match. 4 test tries in his short career. And the Kiwi players just absolutely ecstatic, as they should be in every right. They've got a good sniffer going up 3-zip, and I don't want to put the mocker on them at this stage, but really just starting to show signs of being able to break this Great Britain side at will. We look again at the replay. Steve Kearney just a little pirouette and a 1-2 back on the inside. Sold more dummies than, oh geez, my young twins, and puts the ball, Richie Barnett, and a great pass here, Jared McCracken off the ground. That's fantastic. And this hands by Stacey Jones. He's able to just position Robbie Paul, the two of them, as you say, instinctively, and he runs round from behind the post. Oh, and this is just absolutely fantastic stuff.
You know, again, just upsetting the rhythm. Steve Kearney never does pirouettes out of dummy half. And what about this pass from Crackers? Oh, I think that caught everybody unawares, and certainly the inside ball from Stacey. Well, we've seen plenty of tries. That's his third one of the series, actually, for Robbie Paul. And a terrific try for the Kiwis. And let's hope that they're going to start doing what they did last week, as Halligan looks to add the extras. And Henry and Robbie Paul on the end of some great play by the Kiwi team, playing with confidence, playing like a team that are enjoying each other's company. This man's not enjoying the sight, because the sight says 22 points to 10. And problems, more problems for Andy Goodway. The Kiwis with a deep kick, very deep, and looking 22-10. What a great second half. Again, it has been, and they seem to find another set of legs. Fresh legs from Tony Pulatua. Perhaps it's using this youthful exuberance off the interchange bench that has had some impact on the way that they play the game. This time it's the ball is spilt. Was it stripped? That's what the referee tells us, that it was stripped. But there's big Joe Vangana come on and leaps and bounds in the last couple of seasons. And World Rugby League critics now regard Joe Vangana as a true champion. You know, and often they take till late 20s to mature to get those sorts of accolades. But his form has improved so much over the last 2 or 3 seasons that everyone sits up and takes notice when Joe Vangana has the ball in hand.
Yeah, Dale, I think this Great Britain side, I think they're probably paying the price for you know, chopping and changing. Of course, a lot of those replacements have been because of injury and not purely down to form. But probably 1 or 2 key players out there. I think Gary Conley's carrying a bit of a knock. We haven't seen a lot of him. And, you know, these forwards, Chris Joint probably, you know, is not the form that we see from him in the past, and really just have come in unprepared and a bit underdone trying to take on this Kiwi side.
Here's a chance, maybe a try. And Sean Long unexpectedly cuts the gap, splits it, goes towards Harrigan and picks up a try on the comeback for Great Britain. So 22-10 goes, 22 points to 14, kick to come.
Oh yeah, this is just an individual try, and we've seen 2 or 3 of these over these 3 test matches. And Sean Long, you know, Tony Smith, he has been industrious in himself. I've been impressed with his front on defence and his ability to get in there and mix it. And there's just a big hole that opens up. The Kiwis just going to sleep a bit there, but you know, take nothing away from Sean Long. He gets himself in there and backs up. And just a couple of nice little dummies, able to get away from the grasp of Vagana and get the ball back inside. And again, a good pacer, Sean Long, coming in for Yeston Harris. And, you know, he'll be thrilled with that touchdown.
And so will the supporters, really, because the Kiwis are starting to sing 10 guitars in the stands at 22-10. And it seems now that they'll have to pull it back to 5 guitars, perhaps, because the Great Britain team on the comeback trail. And St Helens try scorer Andy Farrell will add the extras. So a little bit more sting as we go into the last quarter. And at 22 points to 16, and certainly not out of the game yet, the Great Britain team. The Kiwis will have to just stick to their guns. Another try will certainly dishearten this Pommy squad, but at the moment they are still in touch. 22 points to 16 in the third and final test of the Kiwi Tour of Great Britain, and you got the action coming your way on Sky Sport. As you mentioned, Dwayne, though, this really just a hole. We see Tony Puletua. Can't believe that there was such a hole created, and clever thinking really by Sean Long to run towards Harrigan. Stacey Jones there, but they're too late. As the kick comes now, there's the clock counting down, 13 minutes to go. Halligan now. The Kiwis need another try to secure victory as Joe Vaugenaar takes it. Plenty of defence as well as the Great Britain team realise the urgency with which they must play the game now. They need to force an error, they need to get the ball, they need to get back over that try line. Quentin Pongia will want to deny them that opportunity. Out of dummy half again, it's Henry Paul with a swivel and 7 metres that he gains. 28 out from the line, and another run from his brother. Good, valuable meterage up the middle of the park.
Well, if Robbie Paul, there's only been 2 players, only 2 times have the Kiwis been able to go across for tries, and Robbie Paul, if he manages to get across, he'll be the first Kiwi, to get a hat-trick of tries. We've seen Great Britain, we've seen 2 players, and Gary Schofield and Billy Boston, they've kind of gone on to score 4 tries each against Kiwi side. So Robbie Paul perhaps maybe an opportunity for this Kiwi side to break more records if he can get himself a hat-trick there today.
Redlinski again, strong under the high ball. Pressure on from Richie Barnett. But Redlinski equal to the task. He certainly has a talent, hasn't been given enough opportunities throughout the course of the series to show just what he is capable of, but that's just a glimpse of the professionalism that he operates as Farrell cops a good tackle. Henry Paul, Ruben Wiki, dummy half, senior now. Senior searching for a hole. And Terry Newton back on to replace Chris Joint. Now this is where the Kiwis will have to shore up their defences right up the middle of the ruck. A couple of times have been exposed for third final tackle now. Onto the left boot of Farrell. Puts it towards the end goal and is collected by Sean Hoppy. Conservative approach at the moment is probably a worthwhile ploy for the New Zealanders as they take it back to 30 metres. Hoppy will play it on to Stacey Jones.
Well, the Kiwis they have to make sure that they just stay on the job at hand here. They really can't afford to slack off and relax. The forwards need to muster together and start giving themselves good yards. Continue this passage of play of being able to unload the ball and put the Great Britain defence in 2 minds. Still a lot of time, as you said, Dale, in this game for Great Britain to get back in here.
Now, a tight game. That's a 22-16 and a half break for Kearney. Looks to offload. Maybe we need to look for McCracken to do one of those little bits of magic like the pass that he got away with before. Here's Henry Paul, he's capable of it. The cutout ball goes wide. This is the stuff that they need. Richie Barnett gets it on to Jones. Keeps it alive with Puletua. The big man tries to fend off the defence, but Dale Lawton closes him down 20 metres out from the line. As Logan Swan back on now to replace Jared McCracken. Here's the drop goal, the field goal. The 1 point could mean plenty as Stacey Jones gets the 1, takes us out to 7. Okay, it's only 1 point, but in the context of the match, a very important drop goal. Stacey Jones, cool, calm and collected, slots the 1 point, an important one for New Zealand.
Well, a really clever play by Stacey, really maturing on this tour and being able to just put himself in a nice position and be able to just get the control of this game, control the tempo of the game. And this will be a good opportunity for Quentin Pongia just to get amongst his players and really just keep them focused and get them to get up there and offer good defence as this Great Britain side and really start getting there and getting in their face again.
Well, you just saw the side of Stacey Jones screaming at his teammates too, and people over the years have been a little critical, although he's a young man and probably didn't feel it was his place to be the loud, shout, get in your face type of halfback. But as you mentioned, he's maturing and he's feeling more confident of his spot within this squad, and it's great to see him demanding more activity from his forwards. And they're responding well. So, 7 points in it, 23-16, 9 out from full time, and a history-making third test win and a clean sweep over Great Britain by New Zealand's team. Remember, it's 1971 since we last won a series, and a clean sweep has never been achieved by a New Zealand's team, and the chance to do that just 8 minutes away now as the tackle is made by Logan Swan back on the field. Great Britain, they need to score and they need to get down the other end of the field, and Toronto, as pressure comes on to Andy Farrell and gets a hurried kick in, but that pressure results in a fairly easy pick-up for Richie Barnett at the back.
Yeah, and that's what the Kiwis are doing well. They've started to get up on Farrell and not give him much room. He's put these kicks down, and the Great Britain chasers haven't been able to apply any pressure really to Barnett at all. And Hoppy just again being able to get those hands free as the Kiwis launch another raid inside the Great Britain half.
You mentioned that Connolly has been a little bit down and perhaps carrying a niggling injury. I'd have to agree, because a player with such talent really hasn't stamped his mark, as Henry Paul again keeps the ball alive. Here they come again. Wiki on the inside for Hoppy. Hoppy's pulled down now 12 metres out, 3 in from the right-hand touchline as it comes for Wiki. Flat and long, finds Robbie Paul. They keep it alive. On to Stacey Jones, lurking menacingly around the middle of the ruck, and he's put to ground now, 15 out from the line, but the Kiwis in good position. Kearney up to play the ball back now, goes to Jones. Jones on the Wagenaar, holds it up, the double around from Jones. The flat wide ball, inside it comes for Wiki. Wiki, can he offload? He can't. Wisely takes the tackle rather than running the risk of turning the ball over. Fifth and final tackle, though. We might see it go to the boot as it comes now for Paul. He tries the grubber kick to the end goal. Pressure on Great Britain and having to force it dead as Francis Cummins. Not a bad play. Some might say selfish. Others may say very clever.
Well, he's just getting a sniff of it. Maybe he is looking for the hat-trick himself, but that's good play. They'll have to return this ball to the Kiwis, and they put themselves in great position. And again, look for these little men. They're the ones who are causing a lot of the problems. Stacey Jones, we saw earlier on in the Biffo, he was the first one there to defend old Big Joe. And he's the one who's been able to get his hands free to let this ball go out and continue this second phase attack. And that's a short dropout. And, oh, geez, really giving the ball in good territory there.
Well, you're looking for 50 metres off a drop kick, aren't you, in an international? That time 20-odd metres. The Kiwis immediately on attack, and they might capitalise right here as Wiki receives. That's 8 metres out from the try line now. Pressure on the run towards the line from Swan. Can he spin, swivel and down it? He can't. 2 gone now. The Kiwis, great chance and a penalty. And 10 minutes. I think he's either pushing or he might have given a penalty and a 10-minute sin bin. Certainly there were a chance there, and that chance has been denied, but it'll give him a chance to soak up a bit of time. Shot for goal. 6 minutes out. 23 points to 16. As they take the tap quickly, the Kiwis prepared to throw it around. Will it work for them? The inside ball goes to Kearney, then he goes to Wagenaar, picked up by Connolly. A turnaround as Great Britain come up with it. Dale Lawton up the middle. They will have to keep it alive now with 5 minutes to go as the run is taken by Terry Newton, the hooker. Joe Wagenaar unfortunately could not handle that football, and Connolly comes up with it. So Great Britain with a chance, but they need to do plenty, and they've got plenty of space between them now and where that try line is. The Kiwis defensively into their work. They know that they just have to defend for another 5 minutes, and history will be theirs. A chance to put their names in the record book hasn't escaped the attention of these Kiwi players. They've appreciated the support. Plenty of faxes coming from New Zealand across to their hotel in London. And listening to the Mad Butcher during the week, he said that they meant a great deal. That time the ball comes the Kiwis' way as Puletua spins in the tackle, and Logan Swan will slide into dummy half. Now, that was the beast, a little bit lucky. Sometimes those ones are called in. Now it's Ruben Wiki, puts plenty of pressure on, 18 metres out from the try line. Dummy half, Robbie Paul. Which way will he go? Shows it to the left, delivers it left. Out it goes now. The run comes from Kearney, the spin. Wrapped up by Sculthorpe now. He's only about 6 or 7 metres out from the try line. Out of dummy half, the run comes from Henry Paul, the wide ball, as we wind up for the beast of the try line. In fact, it's Swan, pulled down now 5 metres short of the line. Ruben Wiki, back on the inside. They'll score here. The Kiwis will score here. Let's have a look as Barnett tries to cut the gap back up on the inside. It's back to Robbie Paul, to his feet now. 5 metres out from the try line. Plenty of pressure on the tap on from the Kiwis. Back to Joe Wagenaar. In the spin, looks to offload. He's wrapped up and he may have dropped the football. Yes, he has. The referee is told by the linesman that Joe dropped the ball. Close. Only 3.5 minutes to play. Well, on our clock anyway, left in this test match. Fairly safe at the moment with a 7-point lead as Dale Lawton, who's tried hard all game, and comes surging forward and wrapped up by Quentin Pongia. So Frank Endicott may not have the Warriors job next year, but he certainly has the respect and admiration of all Kiwi League fans for being able to steer this team to a 3-test clean sweep over the Great Britain team. This man can hold his head high, Andy Farrell. He's a young man, 23 years old. The Great Britain skipper will get a chance to see plenty more of his footballing skills over the next few years as a break opens up, or a gap opens up for the, I think it's Broadshaw, is it?
Simon Horton.
Simon Horton from Wigan. And this time the grubber kick through, looking for Jason Robinson on the far wing. And reminding you, of course, is back there to get it, Stacey Jones. Can't get into the field of play as the clock ticks down. 3 minutes to go, and Daryl Halligan, well, we can expect from him dying to kick it a bit further than 20 metres.
Yeah, Great Britain just, really having to throw everything, but they're only feeding off some Kiwi mistakes as the New Zealand side were hot on attack and opting to take the quick tap and shuffle the ball out wide and turning possession over, and we've seen the Great Britain side just march back up the field. The clock winding down now, and this Kiwi side, yeah, as you say, big credit to Frank Endicott and picking the side up and getting these players through these 3 test matches after a long season, and they'll have a catch cry out there amongst these players as they really just rally behind each other and make sure that they just keep their line, get up, keep this talk going, keep this enthusiasm going, and make sure that they probably send this ball, try and turn this Great Britain side around if they get their hands on the ball.
Lawton again, a strong run forward. That was a 60-metre drop goal from Daryl Halligan, so anyone who says that a boot is not a useful weapon in an international is kidding themselves. The Kiwis about to make history, and congratulations to Frank, Gary Cooksley, the whole management staff that have worked so hard to get this team prepared. They're backwards running at the moment, but they're on the hiding to nothing as Kevin Senior puts one on the inside. Still a chance. This will be a try to Great Britain. They will be 1 point out and come full time. Not too much reason to celebrate, although that was a fine try without doubt. Tony Smith from Wigan gets the try. They need a kick and they need to get down the other end. Perhaps a drop goal, but what's the use of a draw? They want to win the game. We'll see them flicking it around for the last couple of minutes of this test match. And that's good for Great Britain to come close. The Kiwis, you mentioned that they have to stay strong, strong defensively. They lapsed momentarily and paid the consequence.
Well, they have, and yeah, Tony Smith, he has a busy game and he'll be wrapped with that one. But yeah, the Kiwis just really have to stay on ball there, and they just, let that one slip through. 7 seconds, it's 9 seconds, as fastest try in rugby league by Lee Jackson, and on that account, for that reason, there's still plenty of time for Great Britain to come back and steal this game. So, there'd be a very worried Frank Endicott sitting up in the stands.
7 seconds if you've got a little
9 seconds.
with it. 9 seconds, Dwayne.
9 seconds, Lee Jackson.
Well, they've got a bit more than 9 seconds, but they've got 13 Kiwis to get through, that's for sure. 23-22. You can see the clock counting down, just on a minute of play left. And, of course, they'd be disadvantaged by the fact that they're playing Super League because having scored, they've got to do the kick-off.
Yeah, and perhaps look, a short kick-off perhaps from Farrell. Maybe looking for someone like Keith Senior, one of the tall blokes, to come through.
Well, the Saracens will be keeping an eye on that one as it comes back, and sure enough comes up the British way. Well, a chance now for Great Britain to do something magic, to show something special and to come up with an unlikely victory at this stage of the game. 30 seconds of play. The Kiwis have to hold on as it goes wide to Jason Robinson. Capable of doing the damage this time, not though as the beast closes him down, with some assistance from Sid Eru.
And they can't afford to give away a penalty either.
Well, Farrell's certainly got a very well-recognised boot, 20 seconds in it, although we're going with Harrigan's clock too, so, there might be just a little bit of extra play involved in it. The Kiwis, the chant goes up from the expat Kiwis who are there. Are they looking for a drop goal? Why bother? This one charged down by the Kiwis, but it comes up for Senior. Senior now, can he offload? He can't. Taking to the tackle now, Robbie Paul. Last play of the test match coming up. This time a drop goal. It will be a draw. This one is over. Oh, what a finish. The Kiwis denied the opportunity of a clean sweep. A great series of football. But look at that, Dwayne. 23 all. Who would have thought?
Well, the TAB paying huge odds out for the draw. So you'd have to be, you'd be sitting high in your seat now knowing that scoreline. But, oh, geez. They'd be, they won't be gutted, the Kiwi side, but they well and truly know they had that game wrapped up. And this Great Britain side, I guess, feeling somewhat relieved that they weren't the first side to go down 3-0 on Great British soil.
A great finish to the football game. Frank Endicott will be disappointed as the two teams leave the field. We know that the draw has been secured. New Zealand won the series, but were unable to clean sweep it. And the final result from Vicarage Road in Watford is 23 all, Kiwis and Great Britain.